Okay, our next guest recently wrote a column on how, after a lifetime of voting Democrat, he voted Republican for the first time in his life, adding, "I don't recognize the Democrat Party anymore." Joining us right now to talk about his choice, author and founder of Wrong Speak Publishing, Adam B. Coleman. Adam, thank you so much. We can get into some details, but feel free to, expound upon where you started, where you ended up. How did this happen?
The Democrat Party changed. I think that's ultimately what I've noticed. They've become socially progressive. I'm a moderate person. Even when I was a Democrat, I would consider myself a moderate liberal. And the party that I used to believe, that also believed in liberal values, the importance of freedom of speech and all of these different principles, they no longer believe in. They are pro-censorship. Yeah. They are pro things that I never even thought we would have to even say, like pro-mutilation for children. When the President of the United States says that affirming care by means of mutilating children is preferable, that means that the Democrat Party that I knew is officially dead. Because the party that I used to know would never have advocated for this. And this wasn't even a political stance to even take. So I think, the protection of children and especially advocating for families is extremely important to me. And so that's why I decided to take my vote elsewhere.
Yeah, you talk about a number of issues where you believe the Democratic Party has gone off the rails and include support for child transgender surgery. You kind of alluded to that. A shift from pro-choice to pro-abortion, attacking parents who oppose what schools are teaching, extreme approaches to COVID. And it seems, what got me, not that I haven't had a problem with it for a very long time, but it's like it seems like the people in power now are the extremes. The people in power now are deciding that defining a man and a woman isn't done biologically or scientifically anymore. It's how you define yourself. And I don't know how this all happened because these used to be extreme ideas that nobody took seriously.
Right. Ultimately, this is where the progressive movement comes in. I would say politically, many of the politicians, especially in D.C., are feigning to be like socially progressive people. But the reality is that behind the scenes, I think they're hardcore corporatist kind of people. And it's a distraction of progressive ideology that gets us all riled up on both sides. And I think ultimately they're willing to say and do whatever it takes to get a vote. And I think right now it is socially acceptable to project progressive viewpoints. Right? Doesn't matter if the majority of Americans, even the apolitical people, do not agree with mutilating children. It doesn't matter. It is a thing that is in the now, in the moment, and it's a very short-term look at politics, and they're going all in on it.
Yeah, let me ask you about immigration. You've written that there's nothing compassionate about the humanitarian crisis Democrats have created at the border, and you make the point Republicans have a rare opportunity to shift the narrative on immigration. How should they do that?
I really, especially since becoming more and more aware of the narratives that come in from the political right, many of them I agree with, many of the stances I agree with. But one of the biggest problems that I see coming from the political right is this idea that facts don't care about your feelings, when in reality, feelings don't care about your facts either, right? And the way that you grab a hold of people is on the emotional side. And when it comes to immigration, Democrats try to use the emotional stance of these people are fleeing from desperation. You must do everything possible. When the reality is that there is a feelings aspect to what happens when you go in that approach, that people get put into human trafficking scenarios. Children and women are forced into bondage, right? We have forced labor that happens within the borders of the United States stemming from the immigration crisis at the border. People are homeless. Like there's so many different angles that you can talk about. This is a legit humanitarian crisis. This is far more than fiscally, it's not the best thing for American citizens because of jobs. No, there's a human element to this. And I really wish the right wing would take a hold of that and own
it. Before we go, as a black man, I understand you get pushback for questioning the left. We all know the traditional roles or the demographics, if you will. So tell me how you respond to that and how you look at it.
I generally don't respond to it. I don't have. There's nothing about me that wants to beg for people I don't respect to respect me. Like I really don't care. I think ultimately, if you do what we do, you believe in what you believe, and you just keep moving forward. So I really have no pushback. I know who I am. I know what my skin color looks like. I know my life experience, what I'm comfortable with, and I know my values. So if some stranger or some commentator who is on the political left doesn't like what I have to say, that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah. In other words, you're thinking for yourself.
Absolutely.
Adam B. Coleman, thank you so much, sir. Pleasure talking to you, sir.
Pleasure. Thank you.